Spiritual Teaching 297. Love each other. 1. My people, your desire to harvest the fruit of what you have sowed is noble, but I say to you that you need to be patient. You cannot know the results of your deeds immediately, for it would be the same as harvesting fruits before they are ripe. 2. This doctrine will evolve and flourish throughout eternity. Thus, each individual needs to understand the mission that has been assigned to him within this spiritual work. Once he completes his mission, he will need to entrust his work to others who will arrive to continue with this work. Thus, you will not know who will help humanity harvest the fruits of faith and the conversion to spirituality. 3. Those who witness humanity becoming more spiritual will know that it involved the hard work of numerous individuals, besides themselves, to help this spiritual doctrine triumph on earth. The Divine Master has entrusted that responsibility to all individuals. 4. Be aware that one generation is not capable of fulfilling the work of this doctrine. Also be aware that it is not the time to harvest the fruits of your work. 5. If you do not practice my teachings, how will you be able to teach your brethren to comprehend my doctrine? How do you expect the world to change so quickly when it has taken you so long to understand my word, to believe in it, and to subdue your rebellious material body so that it can fulfill its mission? 6. Since you do not have the necessary strength to fulfill these deeds that are so important spiritually, it is necessary that you know that there are spiritual beings who are preparing the path and guiding you to the places where you need to sow my divine seed. Those beings are your brethren who dwell in other worlds and mansions. They guide your steps and prepare the paths that you need to follow because they also work to sow peace, love, and brotherhood. Those spirits have great spiritual enlightenment and wisdom and will never harm you. Since they are always guiding you in your mission, they will make you feel uneasy when you abandon and neglect your work. 11. Although a human being might be guided temporarily by the low passions of his flesh and inclined to do evil deeds, he will no longer behave in that manner once he acquires spiritual enlightenment, thus manifesting that God is present in every spirit. 12. That is the divine essence that man needs to seek within himself, the essence that he has lost and that he has many times sought in vain. That is why I have come to reveal the spiritual gifts that you possess so that you will discover your true self. I have come to teach you how to discover your spirit and to know your true essence. To truly know yourself, you need to go beyond your physical body and discover your inner self, which is your spirit. 13. Disciples, learn to seek those things that are spiritual, so that you can free yourself from all fanaticism which originates from the practice of external and material forms of worship. 14. You will then realize that it is not the houses of prayer, the symbols, nor the rituals which make this spiritual doctrine great, but rather its eternal divine essence and its justice. 15. Do not try to limit this doctrine, because it is universal and infinite, nor should you set a limit on how much you will evolve spiritually. The more you study this doctrine, and the more you practice true deeds of love, the greater the revelations you will receive. You will perceive the divine work of God in the simplest of things and throughout creation, becoming one with all of God's creation. 16. The Divine Master has come to teach his disciple in a simple and humble manner so that the disciple will also reflect simplicity and humility. That disciple should be able to persuade and convert his brethren through his words of divine truth and deeds of love. He should try not to surprise his brethren through mysterious powers or extraordinary abilities. 17. The true disciple will be great because of his simplicity. He will understand the Divine Master, and his brethren will understand him. 18. Life is like a large ocean in which each individual sails his boat. While some sail toward a port of safety, others are lost at sea, unable to guide their boat because they lack ideals and experience. 19. I have brought you my doctrine to help you reach a port of safety. How could I bring you teachings that were vague and imprecise and did not reflect the divine truth and true wisdom? If I were to do that, you would be in danger of falling into a new fanaticism. Although you may pretend to be practicing deeds of love and charity, You are now living in a time in which your conscience will not let you live in peace. 20. Listen to me, my people and disciples, for I am offering you spiritual enlightenment, which allows you to become free from the negativity, ignorance, and weaknesses that have enslaved you. However, I am not authorizing you to create another religion or rituals and ceremonies from this doctrine. Be aware of the spiritual freedom that I have come to offer you, so that you will not exchange it for a new fanaticism. 21. Did you not realize that both your spirit and mind were not evolving? Do you not remember the numerous false beliefs and fears that you inherited from your ancestors? I have helped you eliminate them, enabling you to perceive the truth and to become spiritually enlightened. 22. If you do not prepare yourself spiritually and choose to behave in a non-virtuous manner, you will not become enlightened because of your materialism. Your brethren will then perceive you as someone who is ignorant and knows nothing about this great revelation. 23. Disciples, first be aware of your own faults and weaknesses before looking for the faults in your brethren. 24. I am telling you that you should not use my doctrine to judge the deeds of your brethren of different religions. Truly I tell you that in all the different religions that are practiced on earth, there are some within each religion who truly seek me and lead virtuous lives full of sacrifices. Nevertheless, my disciples frequently ask me why I permit such a diversity of ideas that at times clash with one another, giving rise to hate among people with different beliefs. The Divine Master says to you, I have permitted those different beliefs because there are no two spirits on earth who have exactly the same level of comprehension, the same enlightenment, and the same faith. Each being was given free will to choose the path that he wanted to follow. Since no individual was forced to follow the divine path, through his own free will he needs to achieve true merits as he seeks the truth. 25. My beloved disciples, be aware that it is your mission to live in unity and harmony so that you may utilize your spiritual gifts to help those who need your healing balsam, words of comfort, or assistance. 26. Truly, I tell you that you cannot practice true spirituality if you allow pride to grow in your heart. An enlightened spirit does not feel any pleasure from those trivial and vain material things that flatter the heart of a selfish individual. 27. Those who are falsely pretending to fulfill their spiritual mission are not my true disciples, although others may perceive them as truly dedicated and determined. 28. The most sincere and pure deeds are those that you practice silently, without anyone being aware of them. Those are the deeds that truly help your spirit to evolve. 29. I told my disciples in the second era not to let their left hand be aware of what their right hand was doing. Today, my spirit has come to clarify all things. Therefore, I say to you, be truly humble and do not be a hypocrite. Let your tears reflect true sorrow for the suffering of your brethren and truly rejoice when good things happen to them. Only one who learns to practice my doctrine in this manner will be willing to give his life for his fellow men. 30. My people, if you have been assigned to prepare the fields and to sow my divine seeds, do not be dissatisfied if I choose others to harvest the fruits. Be aware that all of your brethren have the same right to enjoy working in the fields of the Divine Father. 31. I am the divine path, and you are the travelers who journey on that path. 32. Once you reach the top of the mountain, you will give thanks to the Divine Father as you perceive the long path that your spirit has traveled. 33. The journey is quite long. Is there any individual who can proclaim that he has journeyed the entire path, discovered all of its mysteries, and has penetrated into all things that are beyond what one can see and hear on earth? 34. My people, the Divine Master is not minimizing your work, nor is he ignoring how much you have progressed along his path when he tells you this. I am the first one to truly value your merits, for if that were not so, I would not be a just God. If I speak to you in this manner, it is to make you comprehend that although you have great abilities, both as a human being and a spiritual being, you still have much to learn to fully develop those abilities. The more you seek to comprehend those spiritual and divine things which are beyond your material senses, the more enlightened you will become with my teachings. 35. Just as I have permitted man to investigate and study his material world, I have also revealed to him a spiritual world that exists beyond earth so that he may study that world with his spirit. I have allowed man to analyze and investigate that spiritual life so that he will become familiar with it. I say to you, however, that you should not limit yourself to the few things that you have presently discovered. You need to continue to study and to prepare yourself so that you may learn more about that infinite world. You must work with great dedication so that at the end of your journey you will be able to say with great satisfaction, I have fulfilled my mission. 36. My doctrine does not prevent a spirit or a man from evolving. On the contrary, it frees man from his fears and false beliefs and lets him perceive the path of enlightenment that awaits him. 37. Although humanity appears to have reached the highest level of scientific discoveries during this period, in reality, this period only marks the beginning of the great discoveries man will make in the future when his search for knowledge embraces true brotherhood. 38. Today, man lives in a state of confusion because he fails to understand that his life on earth and his struggles help him evolve spiritually. The goal of man is to communicate with the Creator from spirit to spirit. 39. Today, the majority of people worship material things. 40. Mankind will be unable to love one another and to truly worship God as long as religions and doctrines persist in their differences. How can people truly love one another, live in harmony, and understand one another if today there are those who, believing they know the secret to salvation and eternal life, reject others who are following different paths, judging them unworthy of entering the kingdom of heaven? 41. You need to be aware of the true purpose of spirituality. It is a doctrine that is much more elevated and spiritual than any religion, sect, or human idea on earth. 42. Study the essence of this message, which contains the divine law of God, and you will realize that it applies to all men, all nations, and all circumstances. 45. Be aware that if all individuals truly understood their mission in life, humanity would stop being selfish. If each individual truly understood his origin and destiny, each of his deeds would reflect the divine mission. 46. There is no longer a need to have so many religions on earth. Humanity is ready to unite in one faith and to worship one God. Men need to be in harmony, both spiritually and in their beliefs, to become spiritually enlightened and to achieve harmony, peace, and progress. 47. There is no religion on earth that will be able to help mankind attain peace and spiritual freedom. However, you will observe that this divine message will help mankind to achieve salvation, unification, and spirituality. Some will receive this message in written form, whereas others will receive it through inspiration. 48. Spirituality does not view any differences among people. Spirituality is the doctrine that humanity needs and unknowingly seeks. It offers those things that man seeks: peace, love, justice, and spiritual enlightenment. 49. I ask those who are listening to this word, do you believe that I could encourage you to dislike and reject your brethren who practice other religions? Disciples, I would never encourage you to do that. However, I do ask you to practice brotherhood and harmony with all individuals, thus setting an example for others to follow. I want you to love those individuals who have different religious beliefs in the same manner as you love those who share your beliefs. 50. People with different religious beliefs need to learn to love one another. All religions proclaim a love for God. Therefore, in an act of love toward God, all individuals need to truly practice loving one another. 51. Do not be afraid if others tell you that you are confused. Remember that this doctrine, which you believe is the divine truth, might be perceived as false by others. According to those individuals, this doctrine lacks the consecration that other religions have received in order to be acknowledged. 52. If you have faith in me, and if you believe that I am manifesting myself through these human spokesmen, then do not fear the judgment of your brethren. Since my doctrine reflects divine truth and great wisdom, it will be difficult for anyone to triumph over you if you know how to effectively utilize the teachings of this doctrine. 53. No one can rebuke or blame you for seeking the divine truth and the path to perfection. Every individual has the divine right to seek the truth. That is why man was given free will. 54. My people, you have been spiritually nourishing yourself with my divine teaching for a long time. I have offered you spiritual nourishment on a daily basis. Therefore, it is unjustified if you feel spiritually weak. I thirst for your love, and what have you offered me to drink? All that you have offered me is your lack of harmony and comprehension, which truly is a bitter drink. 55. I say to you on this day of grace, allow my divine enlightenment to penetrate into your heart, because feeling my presence will transform your life. 56. Truly I have come as a judge, however, if you carefully analyze my word, you will also discover the presence of the Father. That Father loves you and manifests himself in different ways so that you may know him better. 57. I know that the greater your knowledge of me, the more you will love me. 58. When I tell you to love me, do you know what I am truly telling you? I am telling you to love truth, to love righteousness, to love enlightenment, to love one another, and to love the true life. 59. Learn to love me. Behold how my love follows you everywhere, even though you continue to sin and offend me. You can never separate yourself from the great love that I have for you. Know that the greater your faults, the greater is my mercy. 60. The evilness of mankind wants to defeat my love, however, it is unable to do so because love is the universal force and divine power that creates and governs all things. 61. To verify what I have said, I have manifested myself among you in a time when humanity has become spiritually lost because of its sinfulness. My love for humanity is so great that I feel mercy rather than disgust for its sinfulness. 62. You need to truly know me. Come to me so that you may cleanse your stains in the crystalline waters of my charity. Ask, and you will receive it. 65. Trust in me, my people. Trust in me, humanity. Accept that there exists no man, no nation, nor law on earth that can lead you to your salvation. Come to me, seek me, pursue the truth, and one day all beings will be united in the same valley, under the same divine light. 66. All men, races, and nations will respond to the divine call. They will listen once the spirit of man becomes weary of being a prisoner on earth. The spirit will arise and break the chains of materialism in order to proclaim its spiritual freedom. 67. It may appear to you that the fulfillment of that prophecy is very distant, as well as the moral and spiritual transformation of this humanity. However, it is your responsibility to cleanse and prepare the path for your brethren and to fulfill your mission. Otherwise, if you fail to do that, you have no right to judge the fulfillment of my word. 68. A time will arrive in which humanity will develop a strong desire to achieve spiritual elevation. Men will do all that they can to transform this valley of tears into a world filled with harmony. Through great sacrifices and extraordinary efforts, they will reject wars and accomplish things that some thought were impossible. 69. Those men will be the ones who will help humanity to evolve spiritually. They will help to eliminate the bitterness that is experienced on earth and will help to rebuild all those things that were destroyed due to man's blind ambition, materialism, and insensitivity. They will help mankind to worship God in the true manner, a worship without fanaticism and external acts and useless rituals. Also, they will help humanity to understand that it can best worship God by fulfilling the human and spiritual laws. 70. Would you like to be among those who will help mankind to evolve spiritually? Would you like for your children to be among those who are spiritually elevated and who will help mankind? It is up to you to make that happen. It is your responsibility to prepare your children to become spiritually strong and aware of the mission that they need to fulfill. They need to have strong faith and to acquire spiritual enlightenment from my teachings. Thus, they will be able to unite and live in harmony with their brethren, to form a multitude that is spiritually united, in order to triumph over the obstacles that they confront along their path. They will triumph over those obstacles similar to how the people of Israel overcame its obstacles to reach the promised land. 71. If you fail to prepare your children spiritually, your spirit will weep in the spiritual valley as it observes those whom it left abandoned on earth. It will observe that they are weak and unable to defend themselves against the plagues and catastrophes that will occur throughout the world. 72. Can you imagine the restitution and suffering of a spirit who enters the spiritual valley and, instead of experiencing joy and peace, only experiences pain and sorrow because of what it failed to do on earth? 73. You can avoid having to experience that suffering and restitution because today I have brought you these teachings filled with spiritual enlightenment to help save all mankind. My peace be with you.